Observation applies inwardly. Now, most retirees I talk to, they don't complain about being busy anymore. They complain about something harder to name. They say they feel just kind of off balance, or just not right. Not sick exactly, not broken, just not steady. Everything's kind of foggy sometimes. Sleep isn't as deep, energy comes and goes. Little aches hang around longer than they used to. Their mood is shifted, it just gets a little cranky. Some days they feel real sharp, other days they feel cloudy, foggy mind. And what makes it harder is this: they've spent a lifetime carrying all these responsibilities on their shoulders: jobs, families, bills, deadlines. Now that the outside pressure is eased, they're left with something they didn't have time to notice before: themselves. In earlier episodes, we talked about observation outwardly, watching the cost of living, watching how we spend time, watching how attention drifts. But at some point, observation has to turn inwardly. That's where it gets honest. We have to really get honest. That's the only way we can succeed at this. A lot of folks don't like looking inward because they think it means self-criticism. They think it means digging up regret. That's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about making adjustments, but we have to be honest with ourselves to do that. Now, the same way a rancher watches the sky, the same way a mechanic listens to an engine before it fails, 19th century thinkers understood this better than we give them any credit for at all. Men like Henry David Thoreau paid attention to the pond, yes, in the book Walden. But he also paid attention to his own thinking. He noticed when he was restless. He noticed when he was clear. He treated his mind the way he treated the woods. Something to be observed before it's really managed, because you got to know the scope of the project before you can manage it. Now, it's very important that, instead of just blaming age and let's ask this. Ask yourself, how did I sleep last night? Was the room dark? Did I eat heavy too late at night? Did I scroll my phone until midnight? Did I hydrate well over the day? Or did I flush myself out with too much coffee and just not enough minerals? That's not judgment. That's not judgment at all. That's facts. That's stewardship over your body. Over the years, I've learned something very simple. The body is the one that keeps the records. It remembers decades of habits: too much stress, too little rest, too much sugar, too little sunlight, too much sitting, laying around, laying on the couch, too little movement. That record doesn't show up all at one time. It shows up quietly. A stiff knee, a foggy morning, a short, quick temper. If we don't observe inwardly, we blame outwardly. We blame politics, we blame others, we blame doctors, we blame the weather. Sometimes those things matter, but sometimes the answer is simpler. Are we sleeping well? Are we getting sunlight on our skin? These are first things that you can look at that can make an improvement in your life. Are we drinking clean water with proper electrolytes? Or just clear water that washes minerals away, overdriving our system, overdriving our kidneys? Are we overflushing magnesium and potassium with diuretics, caffeine, or constant snacking? Older medicine paid attention before it intervened. A good country doctor would sit and ask you and talk to you and try to get to know you. They would try to understand the patterns. They didn't rush to override the body. They watched it. We can do that ourselves today. It's basic fundamentals. Retirement is the first time many people have space to notice these patterns in real time. You eat a heavy meal at 7 p.m. and your sleep suffers. You fast lightly for half a day and your clarity improves. Now, this was talked about in the Bible, fasting, and we should do it spiritually. You've got to get sun for at least 15 minutes a day, and it'll up your mood. You skip movement through your days, and your joints will start hurting, and these aren't mysteries, these are signals. But here's the part most people miss. Observation inwardly isn't just about the body, it's about thought. When you wake up and immediately rehearse worries, your body responds. When you dwell on regret for years past, your nervous system tightens up. When you assume decline is inevitable, your posture even changes. You manifest your end, your doom. Shoulders roll forward, steps shorten, voice softens. Thought was weight. Now, I'm not saying thought is magic. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But thought shapes physiology more than most retirees, most of us realize. The body listens to the mind. Cortisol rises with worry. It comes up. Muscle tense with fear. Sleep fractures with, over and over worry. Cortisol rises. I said older spiritual writers didn't separate body and spirit the way that we do today. They saw a unified system. They didn't have the language of mitochondria and electrolytes, but they understood rest, restraint, sunlight, and clean water. They understood moderation. They understood that a restless mind disturbs a tired body. Observation inwardly means asking a few steady questions. Now, what I'm thinking most of the day, am I rehearsing gratitude or grievance? Am I moving enough to circulate blood and so on? Am I allowing time for real sleep? Not just television in the dark. Am I overcomplicating my meals when simplicity would just do? Eggs, butter, more of these. Am I treating my body like a worn out machine or like a project I'm still managing with care? You don't need a lab coat to do this. You don't need to be Marcus Welby, You need honesty. I've had mornings where I just felt off and wanted to blame everything and everybody around. But when I stepped back, I saw it plain. Too much caffeine, not enough magnesium, late night thinking that should have been written down and put away. Too little walking. That's not condemnation. That's just me receiving the data and processing it and reviewing it. Retirees have something younger folks don't. Perspective, experience. You've seen these cycles. You've survived hard seasons. You've watched markets rise and fall. You know these things. You know the storms that pass. Apply that same steadiness inwardly. When a rough day comes, instead of panic, observe. Is it dehydration? Is it poor sleep? Is it tension? Is it the tension you just been carrying around like a sack full of stones? I've been indoors too long. Is it that? Have I forgotten to breathe deeply? The body's not fragile glass. It's a living system. It responds when supported. Minerals matter, rest matters, fasting occasionally gives digestive, it gives it a reset. Sunlight sets the rhythm. Gentle movement maintains circulation. Thought patterns influence all of it. This is the second act, friends. It's not decline unless you make it that. It's management season. It's time to get with the program. You are the project manager now. No HR department, no supervisor, just you, your habits, your faith, and your stewardship over your body. Faith, by the way, isn't panic disguised as prayer. It's steadiness. It's trusting that order exists and that small corrections matter. It's believing that improvement is still possible at 70, at 75, and 80. Observation inwardly gives you back that authority, not control over everything, but also know that we had a creator that sewed all this into our incredible system. Now, spiritually and physically, we need to bring these together. You don't overhaul the whole system overnight. You just notice things. You adjust it. You sleep earlier. You hydrate properly. You step outside at sunrise. You let go of one resentment. You take a short walk. You simplify one meal. You breathe slower. That's how order returns. The world will keep moving faster and faster. Healthcare will keep getting complicated and complicated. Advice will keep just multiplying like a snowball. But inward observation keeps you grounded. Inward observation and a relationship with the Creator. It keeps you from chasing every new promise. It gives you wisdom. It keeps you steady in your own body. And steady people are what we need. Grandchildren need calm voices. Communities need seasoned judgment. Families need mentors who aren't just frantic, panic, and emotionally overstimulated. The second act is not about fading out. It's about carrying wisdom forward with clarity and vision. But clarity starts on the inside. Observation applies inwardly first. Before we make the complaint, before we do intervention, before assumption, just notice, I don't have all this figured out. I'm still working on it myself. So let's just keep moving forward on this journey together. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.